How's it going? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and we're doing another collection update. Finally got through all of the stuff I purchased at Maryland Death Fest, which was a lot, obviously, since it took 2 collection updates to do. So, we're going to get right into it. Continuum, designed Obsolescence. This came out on Unique Leader Records, and is a technical death metal band, slash a little bit of brutal death in there. Features Riley McShane, who's the current frontman of Legion, and it's pretty solid. Tech death is kind of hit or miss with me, but these guys do a really good job of having some groovier elements in there that I can get into, because you need some headbangable moments. It can't just be a blur of, insanity all the time. Though, what they do in those moments of insanity, really interesting. There's a lot of really killer lead work on here, a lot of interesting effects, really good stuff. The drumming on here is fucking awesome. Really nice, clean production, which, again, I like in tech death because it brings out all the instrumentation. Solid release. I think it's actually better than their first one. Definitely check it out. Corrosion of Conformity Eye for an Eye. I can't believe I actually didn't own this. My brother-in-law actually downloaded a file for me years ago, and I never got around to getting it. I have everything else by them. This was their early, first punk album, really. It's not really metal at all. It kind of gets lumped in the whole crossover thrash movement, but to be honest, it is a straightforward hardcore punk album. Core 3 members of the band, still there. Moved on, started doing more of the punk thrash stuff later, but yeah, this was a solid first effort. I mean, it's real raw sounding, it's very rough, but I mean, it's pretty much the start of an awesome band. I fucking love COC. They were the first band I ever saw live, so COC is always going to be special to me. If you haven't checked this out, definitely check it out, especially if you're a punk fan. And we have Craft, both Total Soul Rape and Terror Propaganda, the second black metal attack. This is just solid black metal, once again. I love Craft, these guys are awesome. Total Soul Rape is a fuck ton more raw than this one. This one they started injecting more melody, more riffier moments that I really like about Craft. This one is almost like Marduk worship, like that kind of early Marduk where it bordered on death metal and a bit of black metal. They were kind of right in between there. Real nasty, raw, just gritty sounding guitar. The production on this is pretty fucking raw still, despite this being a remaster. Both these are the remasters that came out on Season of Mist. Really good shit. I kind of prefer this one more for the catchier melodies and such that are in here, but this is a fucking beast as well. Definitely check them both out. If you're not familiar with Craft, I think they're one of the best black metal bands out there. They're one of my favorites. Definitely check out Craft. Corpsessed, Impetus of Death. I've been buying a lot of Corpsessed lately, and I think I'm out of stuff I can get on CD, at least as far as I know. Always looking, though. These guys are fucking fantastic. This came out last year in Dark Descent. Finally got around to getting it here. I guess it had a later release date here since it was an overseas release or whatever. Awesome, once again. Very death doomy, finished death metal. Real bassy production. Like when I play this in my car, the the double bass pedals pretty much create an earthquake. And to a degree, it almost drowns out some of the other stuff. Like the guitar kind of blends in with the bass and that. But on regular house speakers, it sounds really good. Just in the car, it's not ideal to jam. Solid writing on this. These guys are incredible. Like, if I was going to recommend finished death metal to a person, this might be one of the bands I'd bring up next to early Amorphous. I fucking love this album. I've loved everything I've heard from these guys, and I would love to see them live. Definitely check this shit out. Churchburn, The Awaiting Coffins. I fucking love Churchburn. They were the first band we saw at Maryland Death Fest. As soon as they were done, I went to their booth and bought the CD, which I was missing. I have their other one, which is absolutely incredible as well. I love this one just as much. These guys are incredible. I love the fact that they blend sludge and black metal so well, and what really sets it apart for me is, despite how heavy and just ugly it sounds, they have some really melodic lead work throughout. It's really just insane. Like, out of these doomy, sludgy, blackened moments comes these beautiful, kind of soulful leads. There's a lot of feel to the play. Awesome band. I love the production on this. The guitar tone is fucking merciless. If you've never jammed Churchburn, definitely check these guys out. They're fucking amazing. Go see them live, 100%. Abhorrence. I'm going to try to pronounce this right. Megalohydrothalassophobia EP. My god, that word is pregnant with other words. Anyway, this is an awesome Finnish death metal band. They had albums out in the early 90s. I just came upon this, saw the name. I remembered someone in like another record shop I went to that brought up Abhorrence before, like, oh, you definitely got to check them out if you love fucking Finnish death metal. And unfortunately, all their earlier stuff is really expensive, even the reissues. But I found this one at the Season of Mist booth at Maryland Death Fest, and it is a killer fucking EP. It opens up with kind of more of a death and roll song, like, but it's a good groovy, almost like obituary-esque kind of groove to it. This is a fantastic EP. I love the production on it. It's real heavy, but the instrumentation really comes out. Like, it doesn't get muddy at all. Real nice, deep fucking vocals, and it's a good balance between, like, the doomier side, and then they still get fast with blast beats and shit like that, and they just give you some awesome moshers on here. Killer listen from start to finish. This was out on Smart Records, and I recommend checking these guys out. I'm going to try to see if I can find their earlier stuff, because if it's anywhere near as good as this, or even better, I can't wait to hear it. All Hell, the Witch's Grail. This is a black metal / thrash metal / trad metal / black and roll. It's blackened, and it's good. I like it. It kind of reminds me a lot of Midnight, which I'm a big Midnight fan ever since fucking jamming those guys. I love that shit. Very similar to it. It kind of has that black and roll sound, but there's like touches of thrash-like melodies in there, and even some kind of Iron Maiden-esque stuff. I would say it doesn't compare to Midnight in the fact that I don't think it's as much fun to listen to. Like, you know, this feels a little more serious, not kind of like playing it loose and everything like Midnight does. But it's still really well executed. I dig the sound overall. It definitely kind of brings back those Bathory, Venom, and Celtic Frost vibes. Definitely check it out if you love any of those bands. Should be right up your alley. Good shit. Abyssal Denouement. After seeing Abyssal live at Maryland Death Fest, and I was absolutely blown away by the performance, by the way, I had to go check out and see if they had any cool merch, and this is their first album. And by there, I mean it's one guy who played all the instruments and had a drum machine running in there and programmed it, obviously. Unfortunately, it really, really sounds like a drum machine. Like, there's no escaping the fact that it's a drum machine on this. But musically, this is really interesting. It's a blend of black metal, death metal, I'd say doom metal in there, a little bit of sludge, real deep, hollow, kind of cavernous vocals. Like, there's definitely a nice reverb effect on it. And the fact the guy wears this giant shroud live, it kind of makes it seem like this nebulous monster growling at you. Really cool shit. This is definitely way more raw than anything they are currently doing, which what they're currently doing is just mind-blowing. Yeah, if you're a fan of these guys, definitely check out the first album. It's pretty interesting to kind of see where they started and where they are now. And by they, I still mean one guy. But it's a solid listen. Definitely check it out. This is a split between Abyssal and Carcinoma, which actually features members of the live band in Abyssal. And I'm going to try to pronounce this split. Let's see. It is Apanthropinization. Sure. I have no idea what the fuck that means. But this is a really solid split. This came out, I believe, in 2012 on Goat Prayer Records. And the Carcinoma side is pretty good. Sometimes it gets lost in the ambience and kind of, doesn't really deliver so much if you wanted, like, big riffs and, like, just, like, nasty sounding death metal moments. But the ambience is really cool. The Abyssal side, I think, was a massive improvement from the first album. Definitely a real drummer on there, probably the guy from Carcinoma. And, like, they really got into the groovier old school death metal. Like, this definitely has that Finnish death metal sound, or God, I'm trying to think of something else to compare it to. We'll just go with Finnish death metal. It pretty much gives you an idea what it sounds like, but much improved. I love the recording quality on this one, a lot better too. Both bands sound really fucking good. And if you like Abyssal, definitely check this one out too. And Carcinoma, definitely check them out as well. I'm just going to read the spine because this is a lot too. Eagles of Death Metal presents Boots Electric performing the best songs we never wrote. This is essentially a cover album by Eagles of Death Metal and Boots Electric, I guess. Or just Eagles of Death Metal throwing out a thing called Boots Electric. Whatever. It's just an interesting collection of covers, but all of them are done in their kind of boogie rock style / desert rock. If you're not familiar with Eagles of Death Metal, this is definitely not a metal project at all. It's kind of interesting to listen to in the sense that they rework these covers really kind of far away from the source material in a lot of these. You have Careless Whispers on here, God of Thunder. They do a kind of medley of High Voltage, and It's a Long Way to the Top, if you want to rock and roll by AC/DC. They even cover Queens of the Stone Age, which I thought was interesting because Josh Homme is actually a part of this project. It's interesting, but it kind of loses me. I kind of like the Cadaver cover because I love Steve Miller Band, but I don't know, I think it gets kind of lost in just making everything kind of weird boogie rock, and sometimes you just want to hear these songs covered a little more close to the source material. Like, some of these venture off a little too far. But all in all, if you're an Eagles of Death Metal fan, check it out. It's a fun listen, at least, and it's pretty interesting to hear these songs reworked. Consummation, The Great Solar Hunter. This is a black metal band from Australia, I believe. This came out on Profound Lore, which they definitely sign a lot of interesting black metal acts, and this is no exception. Most of the songs on here are over the 10-minute mark, and holy shit, they love, like, dissonant, insane-sounding songs. Almost kind of Portal-esque, which is a band I still can't get into. That's a really challenging listen. This is pretty close, except occasionally they'll squeeze in some really interesting melodies that are more close to, like, traditional Norwegian black metal. But man, they love just going off the rails with these almost anti-melodies, I would call it. Like, it just sounds noisy, but somehow tuneful at the same time. I try not to labor the word dissonant, but that really is a very accurate descriptor. I thought it was, all in all, pretty good, but it's definitely not something I would listen to all the time just because I like good hooks. And there really weren't a lot on this, but the talent is 100% there. These guys are definitely doing kind of their own thing here, which I definitely appreciate. So yeah, definitely check it out if you want to hear some fucking wild black metal. Check it out. Enthroned, Cold Black Suns. I've been an Enthroned fan for fucking years. One of the earlier black metal bands I got into. This one's pretty solid. I really like the album before it a little bit more than this one. Sometimes they kind of stretch out moments a little bit too long, and there's a song on here, I can't remember the name of it, I can't remember which one it is, but it feels like an intro squeezed in the middle of the album with these big chants in it, but the song doesn't go anywhere, and that kind of drove me nuts, like this moment that kind of takes you out of a good run. And it's really cool because this is definitely more melodic, more atmospheric than a lot of the stuff they've done before. Like, there were moments on it on the previous album, but this one really kind of takes that to a different level. Like, they use that more. And I think that's pretty interesting. They're trying to change things up a little bit, this late in their career. But sometimes it misses the mark. I don't think it's a bad album by any stretch. It's definitely an interesting listen, and I think a little more adventurous than they've been in the past, maybe. Check it out, form your own opinions. It's a pretty solid listen. Krypts, Cadaver Circulation. Finnish death doom / death metal. I fucking love it. I feel like I name drop Finland more than any other country here lately. This is incredible. I fucking love this album. It is, bar none, one of the best ones I've heard this year in this style. The production on it is excellent. It's murky, but it's clear, and you can hear everything. The guitar tone is fucking massive, and it really embodies both those styles of death and doom. Even some faster, more upbeat moments on here. Strong songwriting. They love to fucking, use tension and release and build these giant fucking moments, and they will just slam you over the head with massive, massive riffs. Fucking love this album. It's out on Dark Descent, and Krypts is an amazing band anyway. Just check those guys out. Fucking sweet. Alright, that'll do it for another collection update. I'm going to get back to listening to more shit because there's a giant stack sitting down here that I need to listen to. But if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, sub. We use shit like this all the time. Catch you later.